opportunity and wasted opportunity. And the fact that with every passing day, there are blessings all around us. There's possibility all around us that I think that we don't always acknowledge. And I think that if you have been tricked into believing that you're just poor and powerless and you don't have any leverage or any equity in your own existence or in your own outcomes, it's very easy to get caught up in sort of waiting for something to happen, waiting for Superman. And so one of the things I really want us to be able to do is to get out of that habit for sure, to sort of walk away from this false idea that things are going to change, that a change is going to come. Like I was listening to somebody sing that beautiful song. I think Sam Cooke sang it. Is that right? Who sang it? In terms of who sang it? Sam Cooke. And in that song, it's like a change gonna come. And I'm the person who kind of says, if a change is gonna come, who's going to bring that change? Like when is that change arriving, and who has the self-actualization skill necessary to bring that change along, to make sure the change gets here, right? Somebody has to bring the change. Somebody has to cause the change. Somebody has to be the catalyst. And the thing about change that's really interesting is, or one way to think about it is that change isn't just something that happens, globally. It doesn't have to be a matter of changing the world. It can really just be a matter of you simply changing, starting with your life, but also changing the lives of the people around you, right? Most of us, give me a guess in the chat right now, if you can think of people in your life where you have some sort of influence on their quality of life. Is there, do you have a child? How many of y'all are parents? How many of y'all got siblings? How many of you have spouses? How many of you have friends that might listen to you if you go talk to them? How many of you maybe you work at a school, maybe you just whatever. How many of you have some circle around you of people where if you really push the needle, if you said, hey, let's all meet next month at Applebee's and eat dinner together, those people would probably consider that. They do it. Or if you said, I'm having a party at my house, come by my house. We're going to have a party. We're going to have a great time, right? How many of you have people in that? Okay. So think about this, right? Not all of us have the capacity or the ability to change the entire world, right? That's hard to do. And a lot of times we talk about changing the world. I can't wake up thinking every day about how I'm going to change the world, because the world is big. There's a lot happening in the world. And yeah, I have some influence. I have some reach, but I can't change the world. I ain't trying to change the world. That's some heavy lifting. That make you tired. So instead of waking up every day thinking how you can change the world, maybe you just wake up and say, how can I change the world around me? How can I just, and I'll give you an example in my life. This is, I'm not just going to talk about it. I want to be about it. One way that I was determined to change my world was I wanted to change the culture in my household. Now, I married a beautiful woman who happened to have 3 lovely children who have a father that isn't named Boyce. So I'm their bonus dad, and it's an honor to be their bonus dad. I think it's a great opportunity to help mentor and raise some really smart children. And in fact, the middle child now, she works for me. The oldest, he's worked for me, and the youngest, she don't know it yet, but just she gonna work for me because she's the one who actually scratched that. She's already working for me. She's actually going to be working at the convention. So if you come to the convention, you meet a little girl named Taylor. I call her Tay-Tay or Tater. That was the nickname I gave her. And so if you see little Tay-Tay, just tell her, tell her hi, tell her you're in the book club. And so when I came in the house, I had my own ideas about certain things, and they had ideas that maybe they got from their parents, their other parents. And I said, I really want this household to have some imprint on it that says that Boyce was here, that the energy that I'm bringing to the table, my whole B1 energy, my whole Black pride, Black power, Black wealth, Black intelligence, Black family, Black love, Black excellence mindset. I said, if I'm really good at this, I should be able to convince the people in this space that this is a philosophy that is beneficial to them, right? Because ain't no Black child gonna be around me that I'm not going to do my best to help support them and prepare them for the future, right? I think that we don't spend enough energy and time getting our kids ready for the future. That's why so many of our children fail, because we don't care about our children. We abandon them. And so you know what I did? Here's the thing. It's easy for me to go do a podcast episode and maybe persuade the people that are listening to me. And we have a couple of YouTube channels with over 500,000 subscribers. And so we have that reach, right? Like that's easy because those, the people that come and listen, they selected themselves. In statistics, we call that self-selection. They've already selected themselves to be there. They're already, it's preaching to the choir. But when you're talking to kids, now that's another story, right? Especially when you're talking to kids where, it's like, okay, who's this guy? I know my mama likes him, but I don't know him. I don't like him. He's not my daddy, right? And so it's a more subtle persuasion technique, and it required me to learn a different set of skills. I couldn't just walk in and say, well, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. Do you know who I am? You should be listening to me. You know how many people would love to talk to me? They don't care about none of that. Kids don't care about none of that. And so I had to figure out, I said, how can I change the world that's in this house? How do I help them to understand that some of these ideas that we discuss, you and I discuss every single day, can benefit them long term? Because I want them to win. I want them to succeed. I want them to be happy. So what I did was I did the hell out of me. And I deliberately and intentionally allowed them to see me in action and to see us in action and to see the benefits of what we're doing. So I took them around the world to different places where we were doing things. We went to London years ago. I sent out an email to all our people in London, and I said, I want to host an event in 2 days. It was packed, over 100 people in London. And the kids are like, why are these people coming here? Like, we just got to London. We don't know anybody here. Well, Boyce does. And they got to see all those people and talk to those people and engage in that positive energy, right? What else did we do? Well, every single day when they come home from school, they see me and they hear me presenting a consistent energy in terms of who I am, what I believe in, and what I represent. They see me down there every single day. Is I've done thousands and thousands and thousands of episodes in the podcast, thousands of classes, all kinds of stuff. They see me doing that, right? And subconsciously, they're picking all that up. What else? Well, a couple of years ago, I finally got them to come to the All Black National Convention, which was an introduction to the whole B1 culture. And like everybody, every single person, I've not met a single person who didn't have this experience. Every single person who gets introduced to the B1 culture, where you have all these empowered, intelligent, capable Black people in one space, they always walk away transformed. They always walk away feeling better about being Black and feeling stronger and more capable and with more self-determination. And there was no difference with them with the kids. The kids now I'll see them doing little stuff like they'll be wearing, like we'll make a t-shirt or something in the Black Business School, and they'll be wearing those shirts, or they'll be talking about something that happened at school, and they'll speak on it as if I was talking, like their ideas, or a pro-Black, or when I get married, I want to marry a Black person, or this racist person said XYZ, but I stood up to it because blah, 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 blah. Or when I get older, I want to have my own business because I want to be free. I don't want to end up having to struggle and get beat up by my boss. I want to prepare for so my point is to say that the same struggle that you're talking about, I understand that, because that is my life. If you want to know my personal life was me sitting there and saying, okay, I've convinced their mother to marry me. How do I get the buy-in from the kids? And that required me to say, how do I shift this culture a little bit, and how do I get them to understand my point of view? And also part of me getting them to understand my point of view was me understanding their point of view, right? So I would encourage you, when you go out here, change the world around you, and be intentional about it. That's the thing, intentionality, right? Be clear about who you are. One of the things that did help was there's no ambiguity about who I am. I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm not going to try to explain it away. I'm not going to hem and haw and pussyfoot around it. No, I am who I am, and that's who I'm going to be. And I've been the same guy for a long time, except for when I evolve in hopefully what is a positive direction. So be you. Don't be scared to be you. Basic ideas that bring us together for things like the All Black National Convention. We believe in Black love, that Black men and Black women need each other, and we need families. If you don't agree that Black people need families and strong families, then I don't know what to do with you. It's going to be hard for me to help you understand that. But if you listen, I can do that. What else? Black love, Black wealth. We believe that Black people are going to be more successful in this world when we are intentional and strategic about building our wealth. Give me a yes if we can all agree on that when Black people love each other and when Black people are building wealth, they are more successful. They are more capable. We are not victims. We're not getting kicked around. We're not being constantly mistreated. We're not constantly running around scared like chickens with our heads cut off. We're in a position of empowerment. If you have a strong family that has been building wealth, that family is going to be a powerhouse family. And then third, what else? What else do we? In being intelligent, as educated and informed as you can be. So give me a yes if you agree with that. That Black people tend to be better off when we do things like, I don't know, read books or gather information or listen to our scholars and thinkers and process information and make plans and strategies and question systems that don't benefit us, right? So think about that. And those are just three basic ideas, right? Black love, Black wealth, Black intelligence. That we are better off when we're working together. We love each other. We're better off when we have more wealth. We're better off when we're smarter and more informed and working with smarter, more informed, wealthy people who love us back. Guess what? Then you start winning. Then you can start making plans to go conquer the world. Then you've got your team, you've got your backup, you've got your army, you've got your pathway to success. Okay. So I would encourage you to pick those basic ideas. When we first started the Black Business School, we picked our core values. Our core values were what we call the Black core of three. The Black core of three is that Black people should educate our own children, create our own jobs, and support Black-owned businesses. So, I believe with complete certainty that if we do those three things as a community, we're gonna be in a position of empowerment unlike anything we've ever had before. Because the big problem you have now is, number one, your families are being destroyed. That's very intentional, because when you can't marry a Black man, you go marry the government. When you don't marry a Black woman, you end up marrying money and drugs and incarceration or whatever it is that you end up being locked in with. If you are waiting for politicians to give you your power, you're going to be waiting forever because they don't give power away. They're only there to pimp you. They're only there to control you. And also, when you're not educated or informed, they're going to manipulate you too, right? So effectively, these are very simple ideas. And what happens is that what I love about the convention is that you get to see that in action. When you're in that space, it's just super positive, super strong, super high quality. And anytime, like 1 or 2 times in 8 years, we've done this. This is our 8th convention. 1 or 2 times in the 8 years where we had somebody that did not align with those values, they had to go. They had to go. Right. Okay. And actually B1 Nation, don't forget b1nation.us, not .com, .us, B1 Nation, be the number one nation.us. That's our online platform as well. And same thing is true. If you can't come in and agree on at least those basic tenets of building a strong community, then we're going to let you go somewhere else. Okay. And there's plenty of toxic spaces you can go hang out. All right. So let me open up the book, and we're going to start reading from the book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. And what I'm going to do is literally pick a random spot in the book and just read from there. So I'm opening this up and I'm on page 78. And so let's see here. What's page 78? Let me see here. Okay. Athletes and entertainers. Why athletes and entertainers waste all their money and what happens when they do. So let me back up actually, and let me see which commandment that actually references. I put so much stuff in here, I can't always remember everything. Commandment number 7. It's about capital preservation. The title of that chapter is that capital must be preserved, protected, and efficiently used. One of the things that we don't understand about money is that we think we have what I call economic immaturity in our community in some cases, not everybody, but a lot of us do. And economic immaturity is when you don't have a mature understanding of what money actually is, what it's supposed to be used for. And so one example I'll ask you, answer me in the chat. If I were to talk to a child and ask that child, hey, if you got $30, what are you going to do with your $30? What do you think that child's going to say? Answer me in the chat. What do you think that child's going to do if you give that child $30? Okay, Josephine says save it. I don't. Your kids ain't my kids, but good for you. Allegra says go buy candy. Rochelle, candy and games. Otis says spend 10, save 20. That'd be nice. If kids did that. I didn't do that when I was a kid. I ain't gonna lie. Spend it, says Anthony. Deborah Slater says buy candy and chips. Right. Monica, movie and games. Fanny says spend it. Regina says buy toys. Right. That's what kids are gonna do. Right. If you give a kid money, a 5-year-old, they're not going to say, well, first I got to pay the light bill. Then I got to make sure the mortgage is on time. Then I got to put money into my 401k. Like, kids don't talk like that. Kids don't do that, right? Kids will take the money and they will go burn it. Well, if you listen to a lot of adults, or if you see a lot of the depictions of what wealthy people or rich people, high income people might do with money, if you're talking about what is exposed to us in media, on television, et cetera, it's a heavy spending culture. They spend the money just like kids. They do exactly what children do. And this is what I refer to as economic immaturity. So what you'll have is you'll have some guy who gets an NBA contract where he's going to be making, $200 million over the next 5 or 6 years. And instead of understanding what money is and understanding that money is actually capital, he thinks money is this thing you're supposed to spend. So he goes and spends like a child. So next thing you know, he's got 20 cars in his garage that are all worth $1.5 million. And he flexes on Instagram, maybe with a bed covered with cash, or he's showing off, all this really fancy, expensive stuff. Maybe he goes and buys, a big piece of jewelry that weighs 25 pounds from Jake the jeweler, or goes, buy and wears Gucci and Prada and all these luxury brands. Right. And what has occurred is that because his economic education was somewhat limited in some cases, he doesn't understand that money is actually capital. Money is not supposed to be spent when it hits that epic level. When money hits that level, it's supposed to be preserved. The number one rule in finance when it comes to capital is that you must preserve your capital. You have to protect that money. Just like in football, the first job of the quarterback is not to score touchdowns. It's not to throw the ball down the field. The number one job of the quarterback is to protect the ball. If you watched the Super Bowl last year, if you're not a football fan, but you know what the Super Bowl is, you saw Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles did not win a Super Bowl last year because there was one play where Jalen failed to protect the ball. They sacked him, he fumbled, they picked it up and ran it back for a touchdown. Without that one play, Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles would have won a Super Bowl. So in terms of capital, your number one job when it comes to capital is to preserve that stuff. You got to keep that money. You got to protect it with your life. And then after you protect it, then you're supposed to grow it, right? So after the quarterback protects the ball, then he starts running plays to try to get the ball down the field and score points and all that good stuff. One thing he does not do is give the ball away. That's not a winning strategy. So similarly in finance, when you have access to capital, it is not a winning strategy to just give the ball away and to go and spend, throw your money up in the air at the club. And what happens is that there is a lot of propaganda aimed at Black people where we see videos. I think I saw, did anybody see that, where there was a trend right now where people go to the club and buy the most expensive bottles of liquor, and to show how rich they are, they pour the bottles out. Anybody seen that? And this is it was all over social media for a while, and it doesn't represent what everybody's doing, but that's one of the things that is obviously a problem. And it leads to wealth depletion, wealth deterioration, lost opportunity as well, because just the mindset of thinking that, number one, I'm supposed to go spend my money on $1,000 bottle of liquor, a $500 bottle, whatever those bottles cost. And then two, I'm supposed to pour it out. And then three, that I'm pouring it out to show you how much money I have, when really actually I'm showing you the opposite. I'm showing you how much money I'm losing. And then four, that somebody might actually be impressed by that. Only a stupid person will be impressed by stupid things. And I don't want to call anybody stupid. That's kind of mean. So let me say it differently. An uneducated person would only be impressed with something like that. And what do I mean by that? Well, because if I was talking to my girls and said, look, if you want a man with financial security, don't pick the man who is trying to show you how much money he has by wasting money in front of you. Because a person and a lifestyle are typically defined not by where they are. They're defined by where they're going. He's not defined by what he is. He's defined by what he's becoming. And what determines where you're going and what determines what you're becoming is indicated and communicated by your regular and day-to-day actions. So if I am a slim person who is doing nothing but eating donuts every single day, all day long, then I'm not really a slim person. I'm a slim person who is becoming a fat person. So if you are thinking like an investor, follow me now. Investors are able to see ahead. Investors can see the whole court. Investors have what I call supervision, where they have the ability to not just see what things are, they see what things can become. They don't see where things are, they see where things are going. That's how people make money. That's how the investor, when the people that made millions from gentrification made their money, they didn't make it by buying the property after it became valuable. They made money buying the property when they saw which direction things were going, right? So if you're just like investing in assets, when you're investing in your life or when you're investing in the people around you, pay attention to where they're going. So effectively, this idea of throwing your money away and overspending to communicate how much money you have, that is a flawed idea, because it might sort of indicate how much you have right now, but it also indicates how little you're going to have based on your spending habits and where you're going in your life. Okay. So that is what I refer to as economic immaturity. Now, what I want to do is I want to mention to everybody, if you're watching online, just go to blackkeystogreatness.com and you can join us inside the Zoom. I'm going to shut down the YouTube in 1 second. So you can go to blackkeystogreatness.com. You can actually join the book club for free. And also, don't forget, but drboycebooks.com is where you can get a copy of the book. And also you can go to powernomics.com to get a copy of Dr. Anderson's book. So here on commandment number 7, capital must be preserved, protected, and efficiently used. It starts off here. In a capitalist society, capital matters more than almost anything else. Capital isn't just money. Capital consists of any resource at your disposal that allows you to get the things that you need. So capital isn't just money. For example, money in your bank account is capital, since you can withdraw it for emergencies, borrow against it, give it away to charity, spend it, or invest it. Other forms of capital might include what is called human capital. These are the hours of labor that most of our people are trained to give to big corporations. When these corporations hire you to go work for them, they are renting your human capital. So what happens to Black people, and the reason so many Black people end up working for non-Black people, is because when you're born, nobody gives you a capital base. When you're born, how many of you, give me a yes or no, how many of you were born in a world where you got no inheritance from anybody? Give me a yes if nobody left you a house, nobody left you any stocks. Give me a yes if nobody left you any cash, nobody left you, maybe somebody died and didn't even leave you a life insurance, or you just came into the world and you had nothing. You started from the bottom, now you're here. Right? How many of you started like that? How many of you went through that? Right. And I want to sit here and watch how many yeses I see Alton and Rochelle and Hugh Cooper and Jeanette and Otis. I see a lot of you. He said, Otis says, I got mine out of the mud. I want to acknowledge that, because I want you to understand how abnormal that is. I want you to understand that how inappropriate that is, that so many of us were released in into a racist capitalist society with absolutely no money. Do you understand how horrible that is? Like, and again, it's not to say that anybody was trying to abuse you. All right. Maybe they didn't know any better, but I just really understand this, right? That's like, that's really like being dropped off in a snowstorm and you ain't even got a coat. It's like being dropped in the middle of a football game and you don't have pads, training, skill. You've never seen a football in your life, but you're expected to somehow win a football game, but you've never played football before and nobody ever coached you on how to play, and didn't give you any training or any preparation. You don't even have a team. You can't win that game, right? Capitalism in economics really is warfare. And so when you are left in this world and people do to you like my daddy did with me. My daddy was he was a drug addict. I'd just be honest. And it creates a tough dilemma for you, because at that point you're forced to go into a situation in a capitalist society where you're being asked to make trades with other people to get what you need. You have to give them something for them to give you money to pay rent or to buy clothes or whatever. Well, all you have is your human capital. All you have is your body. Right. So sometimes people sell their bodies, through prostitution. Some people sell their body through hard labor, where you work until your back breaks and you die at your desk. Some of us eventually elevate to the status of being able to sell our brains. Right. We go to school, we go $100,000 in debt at a university so they can give us a degree, a certification that allows you to go find another white person to work for, typically white. Let's be honest. Most of these corporations are run by white people. Nothing against you if you're white. It's just true. It's true. And so you're maybe selling your brain, and you're also selling your time, and you're selling your energy, and sometimes those environments are incredibly toxic. So the cost is really high, right? You go into this space every day, you're stressed out, you're unhappy, you're miserable. Those things deteriorate your health, not to mention the fact that you spend more time with your boss than you do with your own kids. All that's highly inappropriate. All that is unnecessary. All that can be prevented if somebody simply was able to have enough economic vision to visualize your life instead of just visualizing their own. If they were able to think like an investor in the Black business school sense of saying, number one, I'm important, but I'm not the only person that matters, right? I have that ability to change not the entire world, but I can change the world around me, including the lives of my offspring, right? So I'm able to have enough vision to be able to see outside of myself and say, let me make sure these kids are ready. Let me make sure these kids are good. Number two, I don't just see the present. The present can be like a prison. I'm not going to be locked in the prison of the present. I can see the future. And so because I can see the future, I'm thinking not just about 2023, I'm thinking about 2033, 2043, 2053, 2063, 2073, 2083, 2093, 2103, 2113, 2123, and on and on and on, right? This is the type of vision that wealthy families are able to harness. This is the type of vision that can be learned. It's also very cultural to think this way. Right? The Asian communities think this way. When they form corporations, Japanese companies will make a 250-year plan for their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-great-grandchildren, great-great-great, triple great-grandchildren. They do that. They have 250-year plans for their companies. China is dominating the world economically right now. They're buying up all of Africa, all of Jamaica, et cetera. They're just going all around the world, doing all these amazing things economically that's making people mad. Well, the reason that they got ahead is because they were planning this decades ago. They are in the middle of a 100-year plan for world economic domination. They're about in year 50, 55 or so. And so, and really, they're barely just getting started right now. Give them another 50 years. The United States won't be able to compete. So effectively, when you're thinking about capital, you're thinking about the income for your family, I want you to really practice understanding what capital is, why it must be preserved, and why it protects things that are more important than money. This is deeper than an economic conversation. This ain't just about the money. This is about quality of life. I mean, I want you to really think about how many people you know who've done horrible things and put themselves in terrible situations, maybe gotten killed or sent to prison or stressed themselves out just to get money. Well, a little preparation can prevent those things. So let me keep reading here. And by the way, everybody on YouTube, I'm about to shut the YouTube down. If you want to get a copy of the book, you can go to drboycebooks.com. If you want to join the book club, just go to blackkeystogreatness.com. All right. So